Welcome to a special Valentine's Day edition of Neighborhood Chefs. I'm Ariana, and ladies, today we have two very attractive cooks, plus Dave, presenting two very delicious meals for us. We start the show off with Saquan Jones and his Catfish with baked cinnamon honey corn and baked macaroni and cheese. Let's take a look.
Welcome to Neighborhood Chefs. Today we're here with Saquan. How you doing?
How you doing, Dave?
All right, nice to meet you. Tell us a little about yourself.
Well, my name is Saquan Jones, and what I do is I have a radio show on the internet called Face vs. Safe Place, where I started to speak to guys and help them sort of find ways to be attractive to women. Another sort of social component that I do is a show called On the Spot, where I do political analysis for the week on the public access station. So I wanted to get a chance to, go out there and show you that it's not just all talk. I can actually do a little thing in the kitchen every now and again.
So that's part of the macking experience. That's
well, I don't know about macking.
Macking
you know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah. So I figured, I grew up with a single mother. So, growing up in the kitchen for a male, like most of the time you have a man who grows up in two-parent households and he sort of takes on being the man. He sees how his father is. Right. And he's coming home, the dad more or less is coming home, bringing home the bacon, putting his feet up and reading the paper, and then the mom is doing a lot of the cooking. Right. So when you don't have that sort of aspect in your life, you grow up with a single mother. You see her cooking and cleaning, and you start to take on a little of those sort of aspects. And I always had a love for cooking, and I figured what better way to show the world than Neighborhood Chef, especially with you, Dave.
Oh, yeah. You got love for cooking, I got love for eating. It works out perfect.
All right. So what we're going to make here today is we're going to make a catfish. Okay. With corn on the cob, basted in honey and cinnamon, and some macaroni and cheese.
Sounds good.
So as we go along, I'll sort of I'll go through all of the steps. We're going to make the corn on the cob first, because that takes the longest. Right. And my idea I had in my head is that you have a bachelor who meets a woman, finally convinces her to come to his place, and he wants to cook dinner during the week. So you want to sort of impress her, but you don't want to take 2 hours.
Right.
You want to be able to get in and get out and still make sure she loves the dish. So that
of course, that's the main thing. She got to come back.
Yeah, of course. Well, if it was you, she's not coming back. But for me,
I
want to make sure.
I don't have to cook, so that's okay. Whatever.
Right. But so what we're going to do is that I have some honey, and honey, a lot of people are like, oh, it's sweet and everything, but it's a natural sugar. Right. So if your lady comes over and she's on a diet, you can sell it to her saying that, this will go right through and it'll actually help you out naturally as opposed to
and they buy that.
A candy bar. You know what I mean? You don't want to do that. So I have some cinnamon right here, and I'm just going to mix the two. You want to make it sort of sweet so that, and you want to baste it a little bit so that when you rub it on the actual corn on the cob, it gets in between. So that, once you bake it, it'll sort of baste in the corn on the cob. And I picked corn on the cob too because if she likes you, corn on the cob you have to negotiate a corn on the cob. You can't just eat it. It has to be done properly. So depending on how she's eating it in front of you, you'll know whether or not she likes you. If she's like, exactly. If she's cutting it, or if she's just going straight, and she has some sort of, she has some left in her teeth, you can make a joke about it. And it doesn't make the situation awkward throughout the night. So you have it. So what I did was I just mixed the cinnamon, the ground cinnamon, into the honey, and I'm just going to mix it in together a little bit. All right. I'm put a little more So it has like a thickness to it, but I want to get some more honey so that we can get it to get a nice little coating. All right. So you look at it and it's becoming like a nice little glaze, but you don't want it to be too much because you want to spread it all out. Like if you put it on just like that, then it'll make the corn look a little weird. All right, so I'm gonna put a little more honey so that we can sort of break it up a little bit. But you're not gonna put this whole thing. Obviously, you don't want her to see you putting all this in there, because then, like I said, if she's watching the weight or something like that, she may be a little apprehensive. You just want her to come over, and then once she gets there, it comes right out of the oven, and you're ready to eat it. So you just want to sort of get a nice little glaze on it. Now, I'm putting it on heavy on the top because once the heat hits it, it'll melt, and it'll come down. It'll go on around the side. So the look, when you're doing it, if you're at home and you're doing it, you're like, oh my God, it's gonna look like it's all over the place. But if once the heat is on it, it'll start melting and it'll get in between the kernels. And then when you do is you baste it here. Make sure you put it on nice and liberally. All right. The aluminum foil will act as a conduit to create more heat, so you're getting the heat from the aluminum foil, and it's actually going to melt inside of the corn as well. So we made one for you, and one for her. And like I said, corn on the cob. Like usually, you want to make sure that you have something to talk about. You know, you're at your house and she's listening, and she's already, you know, she's obviously comfortable with you. But you know, there's still potential for some awkward moments. You know, like when you have a date. You're not talking, and you're like, why she didn't call me, say? And I'm like, well, what did you do, Dave? And he's like, well, you know, I try to do what you do. And I'm
gonna be like, I followed exactly what he did, but you know.
Well, you know, they only make one Coca-Cola, baby, and that was me. So, all right, so now we got these.
Everybody loves Pepsi.
Right. So now we got these done, and I'll make one more, you know, just in case. We had an unexpected guest, like, you know, a crazy uncle that comes by.
Uncles don't come in when you want a date, man.
Well, you never know. You know, somebody, you know, you always want to be prepared.
You know, invite family when you want a date, man.
Well, you know, just in case, what if your family's famous and you want to really impress her?
That's what I already did when she came in through the door.
All right, well, there you go. See, this is why I'm cooking. And you don't have to cook. I gotta do more. I gotta do more. You know, I can't. So we have this, and we're gonna put it in the oven.
Right.
All right. We said we preheat our oven already. We preheat our oven at 350 degrees. And we're just going to let those go because when we make the macaroni and cheese, it'll give it a lot more time to do it. So, all right, so now that we have our corn and carb in the oven, what we're going to do is we're going to start doing the macaroni and cheese. We do the fish last because the fish is going to take a short amount of time. We've already started to put the macaroni and cheese on, so we just want to stir it a little bit. Give it a nice little, make sure it doesn't clump up together. And then we'll go back because we have to start to make our cheese sauce. Now, there are ways that people make, I'm a macaroni and cheese fanatic.
I think everybody is, pretty much.
You know, but you know, and I agree because, like, but when you have macaroni and cheese, it's mostly for a special occasion, you know? So, since this is her first time coming over, she'll start reflecting on happy moments. So, that's why you pick the macaroni and cheese, because in her head she's like, Thanksgiving dinner, Christmas, these are very special moments where I get macaroni. Nobody's making macaroni and cheese on Tuesday except for us. And our special moment is her coming over.
Right.
So there are three ways that people make macaroni and cheese. I take macaroni and cheese seriously. Like, okay. I will punch you in the face. You say I got delicious macaroni and cheese, and it's not delicious. But there are three ways that people make it, right? They try to bamboozle you by putting a whole bunch of cheese on top, right? And there's no cheese on the bottom.
Oh, yeah,
so it's like,
the worst.
Yeah, right?
That's
and then
worst,
that's the absolute worst. And then there's an instance where they don't put the cheese on top. They put a lot of cheese in it. But but as a guy, as a bachelor, you don't know about different cheese. So you just say, you know what, let me get the cheddar cheese. And you put it in, and you don't realize that certain cheese melts differently when it hits the heat. So you get an extra sharp cheddar cheese because it'll melt better. Okay. And it'll spread throughout. But then, you know, when you do it that way, then, you know, you may get cheese every 9 to 10 elbows. So now you got cheese here and no cheese there, and you don't want her looking at it like, where's the cheese on this side?
Right.
It's cheesy on the right. And
no,
it's not,
yeah,
and you're like turning it. you turning it, and you're like, yeah, eat this side, and then so you wanna. And there's the right way to make macaroni and cheese, which I feel is the right way.
Okay.
Is that you sort of trick the person into when they eat it. Is you create a cheddar cheese sauce, and what you do is once the noodles are hot, you put the sauce on the cheese so that if your cheese doesn't hit certain elbows, the sauce will, and it'll coat it so psychologically whoever is eating it is still tasting cheese.
Okay.
And hopefully you'll get real cheese too. So, as a bachelor, nobody wants to make cheddar cheese sauce on a weekday,
right?
Except for us. So, what we're gonna do is I'm gonna show you how to make cheddar cheese sauce bachelor style.
Bachelor style.
But if you don't want to make the cheddar cheese sauce, then you have this is you get your generic one from the store.
Right.
A lot of people say you don't eat the box, but the only thing the box is cheddar cheese sauce.
I got no problem with it.
Yeah, but you still add cheese.
Yeah, you do more.
Yeah, exactly. So what you do is you just you get a box that has this. You don't want to get the powder because that's totally different. It'll be tasting like KFC, the gluey macaroni and cheese, not a cheese and style. I don't like what is that?
Right,
do you know what that is? It's like a cheese like mixture that you gotta like wash down or something like. So, but there's certain times that have really good cheddar cheese sauces that you don't have to. But for the sake of, I'm just saying that this is what you can do.
Right.
But for the sake of trying to help out our fellow bachelors, we're gonna make an actual cheese sauce. So what we're gonna do is we get a little small saucepan, and we got heavy cream. You could go heavy cream, milk, anything you want, but you don't want to make a whole bunch of it because it'll be watery. So you want to have just enough where it coats it, and once you put it in the oven, it evaporates and gets into the noodle real fast. So the heavy cream will be like your mixture. So we're gonna pour that into our bowl. Not too much because you want to be conscious. She might be lactose intolerant. And you don't want her. She's not gonna say it, and that's not a conversation.
Yeah,
I mean, do you have that conversation with your girl when
all
you
the
like?
time. Yeah, you drink milk, no lactose. Oh, all right.
Yeah, but sometimes if guys a little nervous. She's not gonna talk about her shortcomings. She might look at that as a shortcoming. So you don't want to make it too heavy, just in case she might have some dietary issues, right? So we're gonna put that on the stove. Let me put a little more in there.
Oh, so you're just not caring about it now.
No. All right, so we're just gonna make that'll heat up real fast. So you don't want to do it. You don't want to do it too. It'll heat up real fast. So you don't want. We're gonna stir our noodles again so they don't get.
And like roughly for these guys, how quick is real fast?
Real fast, you gotta really watch it. You don't want it to get too. You don't want to get too hot because you know what I mean. When you put your cheddar cheese sauce in there, it won't melt. When you put your cheddar in there, it won't melt properly.
Okay.
All right. So when you're making your cheddar cheese sauce, you don't want to leave it on too fast. I know you just you don't want to leave it on too long. You want to sort of watch it. It'll take real fast. It'll cook really fast, but you don't want to make it too hot. So now I'm gonna take it off a little bit. It's still. I just put it on, so it's still. We have a small, about a tablespoon of butter here, and we're gonna put that in and let that melt in it. Put that in. Now we're gonna put the heat on a little higher so that we can melt the butter inside of it. And while we're doing that, we already have our cheddar cheese, our shredded cheddar cheese. You can get any cheddar cheese from the store. Most people have a relationship with the cheese that they get.
Okay.
So not a relationship, but once you buy one cheese, you're not sort of deviant. You stick to that same cheese. So whatever cheese you feel is comfortable for you, you go from there. So now, while we have that on the stove, we're gonna keep watching, and we're gonna have our catfish fillets. All right, I'm gonna place that here. Now, when you make the catfish, the reason why I picked catfish is because catfish is a really durable fish. Like if you look at like a whiting or a salmon, salmon is durable too. But a lot of people don't know how to cook salmon, so you don't want to. It's a very tough fish to cook. So because it's so thick, you don't want to take it out too early. You don't want to take it out too late. And then now, she's coming over and...
You got to make it perfect.
Exactly. So, but what I did was you take whole catfish fillets and you cut them in half. The reason why you cut them in half is because from a cooking standpoint, it's easier to handle. and then if it doesn't turn out good, you're not putting her in a position to have to eat the whole fish. Because now she's like, oh my God, this fish is terrible. But I like them, so I got to tough this thing out. You know what I mean? So you want to start, and then from your own ego, you don't want nobody throwing your food away. Like I made this food and and then, even if you realize that it's not good, you want to sort of make sure that, she eats the whole thing. So, and if it's good, she'll ask for more.
Of course.
So what I did is you got the when you get the fillets, you got the tail piece and you got the front piece.
Okay.
Always give it a front piece because the tail piece is a little, it's the back of it. The fish works from the tail piece. It's like in dark meat, the same concept.
Okay.
So the fish is working the fin, either running away or trying to catch something. So it's a very sort of different taste in the front. Whereas if you have a breast of chicken, it's a different taste than a thigh or leg. The way I season it, you have some salt. So you just want to, sprinkle it. Now we're gonna make this with some bell peppers and a stewed tomato. So because we're doing it with a bell pepper and a stewed tomato, you don't want to overpower it with seasoning because you're gonna get seasoning and flavors from the stewed tomatoes and the bell peppers.
Right.
So you want to have it just enough so that it's not too salty or anything like that. And then whatever it lacks, it gets back from the stewed tomatoes and the bell peppers.
Oh, okay.
All right, so we put some salt on first. We have some garlic. Garlic is a must. And garlic you do liberally because garlic you really, unless you put it like ridiculous amount, you won't really taste the garlic. It'll come out. It's a fine taste. So, and you got some regular seasoning salt. All right, I'm gonna put that right there. We're gonna check this. Now this is just fine right here. I'm gonna turn that off. And let the butter melt. So most people you see in a cooking show, they just put it on. I like to massage it.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I like to get it into the veins and everything, get it nice and mix up your different seasonings so that you can get it nice for. So I like massaging it. You know anything about massage, Dave? I mean, the way you stand, I don't know about your massage technique. It look a little rough.
Well, I'm not gonna show you.
I don't know. I know you're not gonna show me, but I mean, when you like this, I don't know. You might break a back with a massage.
No.
A foot rub. Do you do a massage there?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, you don't got a lot for me.
Bathe them, take them while you give them a massage afterwards. Come on now.
Yeah, so you're feeding them and now you're massaging right now. See, I thought you was a G. See, you lied. G's don't do that. Gangsters don't do that.
I'm not a gangster.
Oh, okay. So
see, there you go.
I just figured you was a gangster because
Why?
Because of how you standing. It's a little rough. I'm a little intimidated by you right now, Dave.
That's because you're a Broncos fan.
All right, so we have our fins, our back side of the fish. We're gonna get in there real good. Okay, so we're gonna let that just sit down. We're gonna put that back into our bowl. We're gonna drain out the water a little bit from this bowl right here. No, this is right. This is good. We're gonna let that just let it sit there a little bit. Put that to the side. We're gonna take off our our heavy cream, and then we're gonna put a little bit of flour into it, just a little bit. Let's crush that up a little bit. All right. I'm gonna stir it up a little bit. So we get a nice little base. All right. We're going to put this back on a little bit. I'm not sure if you smell it, but you can smell that it starts to smell like, it's starting to smell like a cheese even though there's no cheese in there yet. So that's when you know you're doing good. But you got to gauge it depending on, how you like it or how you're used to making it. But like I said, this is an extra step, for the sake of the show, we're showing, guys who want to make a homemade sauce.
Right.
But like I said, you can always go to a package thing, and she won't know the difference because she's on her way over while you're putting the package sauce in. All right. So you want to make sure you get everything, the flour, and use a spoon so that just in case you can't get everything, you can drain any clumps of flour that might have formed in there. So we're gonna put that back on for a little bit. gonna let that simmer a bit. We're gonna stir out. We're gonna wash this off real quick. Wash our hands. Because we're touching the fish, and you know you want to make sure. I saw Contagion, and now I'm like, I'm weird. I like, listen, you know, if there's a way that I can actually greet somebody with like a chest bump, I would do it. Like, when you shook my hand, Dave, I was like, listen, what if he got something on his fingers now? I got it. Wow. Now who my date got it because she's eating the food. So I figured, you know, we could do a chest bump next time. But you're a Giants fan, so.
Yeah, Broncos are not used to chest bumps. We're not used to winning, so yeah.
That's true. All right, so we're gonna stir out our elbows. Those are almost done. All right. And then now we're gonna get our tomatoes for our stewed tomatoes. Now, this is another extra step here too. You don't have to always get the tomatoes that you have here. We have some tomatoes that I bought from the store. Let me just wipe this out. But if you're a bachelor, you know, you can go get the stewed diced tomatoes from, you know, this is Hunt's, but you can, whatever it is that you grew up on, right, you can get it and you can put that in. When you do your tomatoes, though, tomatoes take a very short amount of time to cook. So you really have to watch that. All right? And before we start cutting the tomatoes, we see that our base is ready. We're going to put our cheddar cheese inside of that. All right, let's just gauge it. We're going to stir this in. It should be hot. We're going to stir it in. Now this is going to gain a lot more consistency as the cheese melts. So you want to sort of put some more into it.
Slowly and stuff like that.
Yeah. It's just, so most of the time it's just two people, so you don't have to have a tremendous amount in here. I think this is a nice consistency. It's a lot of cheese that's melted, and you still get a chance to control it. You don't want it to be too, too hard or too much content in it, because when you pour it on the noodles, you won't be able to control it. It'll just like sort of stay out there and then get into one space. So you want to make sure that it becomes a little so you want to be right there, and we're gonna get our consistency. We're gonna get a little more consistency once the other cheese melts. Now, a person is like, Dad, when Saquon did it, it looked easy, but that's because I'm a superhero. But when you realize, when you look at just the look, when you look at the laws of just heating and everything, this was the half and half, and the mixture was hot. The cheese was cold, so the initial pouring of the cheese cools, it lowered the temperature. So you got to go back and you got to put this one, and then whatever cheese was left over will create a consistency.
Well, you can just use your X-ray vision and make it hotter again.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. But you know, I have to maintain my secret identity.
Right.
For mere mortals. Okay. Right. So now we have our fresh tomatoes. We're gonna just cut these real quick. Let's wash them off. All right. I always look at the shows, Dave, and then I'm like, yo, how can I get the cut like they do? So my nervous part was when I was like, should I try to do something snazzy? But then I would like my fingers. So we're going to keep it real bachelory.
And we ain't making no finger sandwiches today.
Exactly. We don't want that either. So what we do is we cut the tops off, and we're going to go right down the middle. All right? And then that'll open it up, and then we'll go here again. We're going to cut it down. We're going to do quarters, and then we're going to cut it this way, so that we can get a nice fillet of the tomato. Okay. All right? So, in that way we are not. And like I said, you got to really watch your tomatoes, because once you baste them, and once you stew them, they'll stew fairly quickly. So you come in here again, down the middle, and we put it back together. Let me just turn it around. Always do it from the other side, so that the skin of the tomato controls how it's cut. And that way you're not, if you do it the other side, all of the juice portion of it will start being mushy and get everywhere. So All right, we're gonna do 2 tomatoes. Okay, so we have our stewed tomatoes right here. All right. We're checking on everything. Our noodles look like they're about almost done. I'm gonna stir it a little more so they don't start to stick. Stir our base, and our cheese sauce is looking real good. It's nice right there. You see how it's coming too. You see how you wanted to make it so that when you put this on there, if your cheese that you're gonna put on there doesn't hit your elbows, at least the cheese sauce will. And you can, people are like, why is he using the same spoon? It's still gonna go into the same thing, so it's okay. And plus the heat will help clean your spoon. That's like a bachelor trick right there. All right. All right, so we chopped out tomatoes. We're going to get them ready to be stewed, okay? And like I said, you don't have to stew a tomato. There's a lot of work that goes in because you have to constantly watch it and you have a whole bunch of other stuff to do. So we are going to get our pot for our stew. We're going to put this into the pan. Make sure you don't cut yourself. Yeah, that's it. Nothing like a real tomato sandwich that looks like that. So, all right. So now the tomatoes are going to be good. So what you don't want to do is, like I said, tomatoes have their own flavoring. So what you do is I just add a little bit of garlic into it. Just a little bit, because garlic. This is minced garlic. This is actual garlic. So you don't want to overpower it. When you get in, you put a little bit of water into it. So you can get in that. You don't have to put too much water because the liquid from the tomatoes are going to start to get into it, and in that way you'll do it. You put a little bit of pepper, not a lot, just a little, because pepper can be overpowering as well. All right, and we're gonna put that on. Okay. Now we're gonna take off while that's cooking. We're gonna take off our noodles and our cheese sauce. All right. So now that we got everything, we're about to make the macaroni and cheese. We're gonna take the macaroni and cheese off and drain it into the sink. This is done. Oh, let's put it right here. Our strainer. All right. I'm gonna put it back into the pot. Now this has to be a very fast motion because the elbows will, we don't put the whole thing because it's just 2 of us. We won't need the whole thing. The elbows will start sticking together if we don't do it right away. We have our cheese sauce that we're going to start to put in. And then you see how it's coming? It's a really thick, nice cheese sauce. So now we get a chance to control it better, just like I said. We're going to stir that in there. So now, this is like the psychological component, you know, you're like looking at the cheese, it looks a little soup, but once you put it in the oven, it'll gain a strong consistency. We want to get a little bit of some salt in there. Pepper. Make a little pepper, you don't want to overpower it, and a little bit of garlic. Alright, I'm going to stir that in. And because it's a nice consistency, we get a chance to, it'll move around. The seasonings will move around, it'll spread evenly on the cheese. Alright? Now the fun part. Dave, would you do me the honors? Would you pour the rest of the cheese in here? Alright, we got some cheese shredded and we have some cheese in cubes.
For the superhero, you want
there you
it
go.
all in one shot.
Yeah, just put it all in there. You want to make, you gotta go hard with macaroni and cheese. You can't just, there you go. So now it's cheesy, and if this melts, it's an extra sharp. So if it melts and some elbows get lost, we still coated it with our cheddar cheese sauce. Right. So now it's going to be remarkable. Sort of like you on a date. Remarkable. I'm fantastic, miss. You are remarkable. You know. All right, so now we're going to stir that up. All right, and we got our pan, our bachelor pan. It's a little crumbly, but we're bachelors. We need that because it's manly. You know, a crumbly pan is manly. All right. Make sure we get everything in there. And now there's not going to be many instances where you don't get the cheese. All right. So we're going to put this in here, and we're going to put it into the oven. We're not going to cover it initially. We're going to put it in here. We're going to take a look at, let me open up the oven. Hold on. Let me open up the oven. That way I can show the audience that we're looking at our corn. And we see that now it's not, when we bake, when it went on thick, but now it melted. It's into the kernels, and it's not there. So then, you know, people got a little nervous. It's like, wow, it's so thick. And now it's like, you can smell it, and it's real sweet. So we're going to let that go back on. Let it go in. Alright. We're going to put that in for about 20 minutes. Alright. And this is the time where you wait, getting ready, you start to get ready, and then, you know, you see what you got to do. Because when you do the catfish, it's not going to take a lot of time to do catfish. Alright. So we're just going to lay this out. Let the fish air out. And get it ready. We have some bell peppers that we're going to fry on top of the catfish. Okay. So when we do the bell peppers, we're going to do that in a separate pan because you don't want, when you put all the vegetables together, it'll start to mix in and you'll get the taste of just one vegetable.
Right, so
so then you want to do that separately because the bell peppers will make its own flavor, then the tomatoes will make its own flavor, and then the catfish will make its own flavor. And when you top it off and you put it on top, it'll be like a jamboree in your mouth. You know, all right, so now we have the last part, the catfish. So we're going to put this on top of the grill. We don't want to fry catfish because when you fry catfish, it gets too bready. It's a really tough fish, you know. Right. So we're still going to cook it in a pan, but when you put the flour in the catfish, more like another fish, like a whiting is a good fish to fry because it's small, it's manageable. When you do a catfish, it just doesn't taste the same. I don't know what it is. So what I'm doing is I'm just putting it on top in some olive oil. We're gonna heat our pan up. Okay, well that's the other pan. We're in a nice little heat. All right. Now we don't, as bachelors, we don't have a lot of pots. All right. But you know the key is, and I always thought like the key to anything is like between you and Bobby Flay is seasoning and pots. Like a lot of guys don't realize how cooking is the only difference between, you know, a chef and a person who's just doing it themselves is the fact that when your pots, if you have expensive pots, then they'll distribute the heat evenly. Okay. Most of the time as bachelors we get cheaper pots, the $4.99 special, right, and the metal in it is really bad. So when you put, most stoves basically heat like right here. They don't come all around. So if it's not heating up the whole pot, it'll just basically heat the middle of it, and then it'll heat the outside from inside out, as opposed to each coil heating it up. And then now what happens is you put your meat on there, and now the meat is like really hard and it's really tough because it took so long for you to cook, especially a nice thick piece. Like if maybe you make a chicken breast, if you put it on a really cheap pot, it'll mess it up. That's why when you go out and you go to some people's houses, the outside should be crispy and the inside should be soft. But depending on what the pot is, the inside is always tough and you're like choking and it's dry on the end, and that's because of the pot. And the other component that makes you a great sort of chef or cook is your seasoning. You know, a lot of people don't season. They don't season their meat properly. The way to really do it is that if you have a chance, but you know, as bachelors, we're not gonna season the night before. It's football. You know what I mean? She's coming. We didn't schedule her on Monday. Why, Dave?
Monday night football.
Exactly. She's coming in on a Tuesday or Wednesday, right?
Right.
So we want to make sure that now on Monday we're not doing that because we are either mad or happy that our team lost, and then we got to get in. So most of the time, if you want to be great, or if you want to at least appear to be great, you season your meat the night before. So that the seasonings can like get inside and you go from there. So, but like I said, as bachelors, we only have one pan. We got this pan and we got these two pans, and we don't have another. So we're gonna be innovative here. Okay, we're gonna put our bell peppers, yellow and green, Because we're using yellow and green. Really, I never see the difference between the taste. Never.
Okay, I was about to ask that.
It's not. I mean, I'm sure that there is some sort of, guy with the best palate on the planet is like, there's a lot less enzymes in the yellow bell pepper than in the green, and there's electrolytes that are produced when you mix the two. I don't really get it. I'm putting them in there because, as a true bachelor, I'm using it for color. Right? We want to dazzle her. Exactly. We want to dazzle her with color. We're going to get some green. We're going to get some yellow. We're going to get the red from the tomato. And it's like 1992. Chuck Rock.
Oh, okay.
Public Enemy. Heavy D. Power to the people. And bring her back to a safe time in her life where she's like, you know what? I was doing the Running Man in the Cabbage Patch when these colors came in, and then now you psychologically are making her more comfortable. Yeah, all right. So look, then now we're gonna put a little olive oil. We're gonna put a little olive oil in here, because the olive oil, we don't put too much in there, because the olive oil just acts as a lubricant for the food. Close that up. We're gonna also put some olive oil in our pan, so it can start to heat up for our catfish. Usually, I usually like to use butter. To be totally honest, it's not the most healthy thing in the world, but I like to use butter, and you can always use a butter substitute.
Right.
But I like to use butter. Olive oil will work, but it'll change the dynamic of your meat. But butter always makes things better. I don't know what it is about butter that's absolutely delicious, but it just makes it better. So we're going to turn on our stewed tomatoes too. We're going to turn those back on. Now you got to watch the stewed tomatoes, because those will get stewed really fast. We're making enough just for us, so we don't have a whole bunch in there. We're going to turn on our bell peppers. All right. We're going to let that heat up real quick. All right. Okay, so now we're letting this thing heat up. You can hear that our green peppers are heating up as well. We're going to stir it a little bit. Let's put it on a high heat for the green pepper. And then we see that already our tomatoes are already boiling. So we're going to get that together. Put a little bit of garlic into the stewed tomato, just a little bit. Stir it, bachelor style. All right. Now, the thing is too is you could put your fish in. So you want to. A lot of people don't know how to cook catfish because it's a really thick fish, or salmon. So what you do is, the key is that you look at the cut side, and you see how this is a really pale color right now.
Right.
As it cooks, you'll see that the heat will start to make this a lot make it a lot whiter, and then you can gauge how long you can keep it on there. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So we're gonna put our catfish in there. You hear? So now you want to make sure that every piece is done on the same side, so that when you turn it, you're turning every piece at the same time. Now, if you have a big enough pot, then you can basically turn it each time, so that you'll know that which one wasn't turned. A lot of guys make the mistake and they put the back side and then the other side and the back side and the other side, and once you turn the pot this way, you're like, which one did I turn over?
Okay.
So if you put them all on one side, then you'll know that you have to turn each of them over at the same time. You don't know. So a lot of guys make that mistake. You want to put it on a low because you want to cook it first before you make it really get a little crust on the outside. All right, let's check our macaroni and cheese and everything else. It's smelling like Thanksgiving in here. As you see, our corn, the base is already coming out. Now, depending on what it is, you see how that is? That you got the caramel in there. It smells great.
It smells real good.
Yeah, it smells great. Let me see the other one right there. And let's check on our macaroni and cheese. Our macaroni and cheese is coming out real cheesy. We're gonna leave it on for a little while longer. We're gonna take the aluminum foil off because now it's baking. So we wanna sort of get the top to be a little brown. Yeah, to get the brown in. So we're gonna leave that out for a little bit. We're going to put that back in. Alright, so we're stirring our green peppers and our yellow peppers. I want to get a little higher heat. Our tomatoes are coming along great. Now we have to always watch the tomatoes, because tomatoes, if they get too, if you leave them on too long, they start getting soupy. So you want to have it a little consistent. You know what I mean? It's also good to sort of ask your date if she's into tomatoes or not. A lot of people aren't into tomatoes.
Yeah, you gotta find out what she likes.
So you gotta ask her, you know, if she eats tomatoes.
You don't want to get an allergic reaction.
Yeah, you don't want to do it. So there's a lot of foods like you want to. So we're assuming that our date loves everything, except especially us. Not you.
You don't assume that. That's already done.
Well,
but
you know, for me, I'm not as fantastic as you. So I want to make sure that she knows.
Everybody is, but don't worry.
There you go. All right, so we're gonna keep flipping out. We're gonna flip it. Let me get another. Spatula. Let me wipe this off. Now, the reason why I picked catfish again is because, like I said, it's a very tough fish. You can move it around and it won't break up on you. You know, exactly. So you can move it around real nice and it won't break up. It's a very tough fish. And we're already, you see the color's already changing.
Yeah.
All right, and we already know that it's about to be a fantastic meal because the smells are coming in. We're feeling good about ourselves. All right. What we're going to do with our bell peppers is make sure you get a nice little brown outside of it, because the bell pepper is kind of hard, so you want to get it a little mushy. Our stewed tomatoes are good now. We're going to leave it on for about another minute because we don't want to sort of get the water out of it. And we're going to leave it on for another minute. Like I told you with the stewed tomatoes, you can get it out of a can. You know, if you have time. This is just, you want to make sure that, you impress her. So you want to make a homemade meal for her. And hopefully she likes it.
And then you get to brag about it after.
Yeah, exactly. You know? And you know what the great thing about when a man cooks is because women are sort of brought up to be maternal. They got easy bake ovens. They're making recipes.
Right.
So when you sort of take that away from her, now she's like, no, he's taking what I'm supposed to be doing away. So now she wants to feel like she has to compensate for her not having to cook. So how does that work for you? She's going to be doing more to impress you now because she feels like you can do something that she can do.
Right.
So now y'all even out. Most of the time when a woman meets a man or vice versa, she's good at one thing, he sucks at another. But they don't sort of meet. There's no Venn diagram of the abilities. When a man hits the kitchen, now that's a commonality, and now she has to show him that she can do other things, like watch football.
A lot of things can be done in the kitchen as well.
Exactly. So now we're gonna keep flipping our catfish. It's starting to change color.
It smells good too.
Thank you very much, Dave. I've been trying to impress you all day. All right. Now, as you can see in the side right here, you can see that the white is changing white, just like I told you, it's changing. So now you know that there's a heat. Catfish doesn't take really that long to cook, so you want to keep it on for a little while longer. Our bell peppers are starting to get a little burned on the outside, which is a good thing. We're going to cut our stewed tomatoes off because now we don't want it to get soupy. You want to be able to still control it once you turn it off, once you take it out of the pot and put it onto the pan. Okay? Now you see the bell peppers are changing. They're becoming a lot softer and a lot looser. And we're going to turn our heat up on the catfish a bit.
You can actually turn more.
Yeah?
Like it's a whole little settings in the bottom.
Oh, okay. Oh, there you go. I didn't even know that. Look at this snazzy oven. It's just amazing. Snazzy, look at you, Dave. I thought you didn't know your way around. Now you're showing me how you got the goods.
You gotta hide something,
Yeah. Well, you don't gotta hide it to me though, because I'm not worried about you cooking, right?
I'm just showing showing what you do.
I'm just kidding, Dave. I'm just kidding, Dave.
Trying to help you with your fish.
Exactly. That's what I need. I want to make sure. So then, everything is sizzling. Sizzling always sounds good. So now we gotta get our plate. All right. You got some plates for me, Dave? Yes. Go. All right, Dave. So now our fish is ready. So we're gonna start taking it off. As you can see, it's a nice brown. We don't want to make it too dark, you know what I mean? Because it'll We want to sort of give a contrast to our color. So we're going to put it in the corner here and get another plate. And take it off. Now, like I said to you, don't give her the tail piece because the tail piece is a tougher piece. So when you do it, you want to have it. You want to think. Let me take these other ones off. Get some paper towels and a plate. Use the paper towel. Take the other pieces off. Here, put it here. Let it drain out. So just in case she wants some more, she's more than welcome to have some more. There you go. All right, so now we have our peppers are really brown and ready to go. They're easy to manage. We're gonna put it on top. So now all of the juice from the tomato, from the peppers are on top of that. So you're getting additional flavoring from the peppers and on top. All right, we're gonna put that back there. Now we're gonna put our tomatoes on top. And the tomato, you can really smell the garlic now on top of the tomato. So
actually, you smelled it when you put it on too.
yeah, so and that'll give it. So now you you're hiding the fish under a bouquet of fantasticness. All right. And we're gonna take out our corn and our cheap macaroni and cheese. Oh, let me get the other one.
Don't get nervous now. She's on her way.
Yeah. Alright, we'll keep that. So now we got our macaroni and cheese. We're going to put that on top, on the corner. Not too much because you don't know how she's going to, how much she's going to eat. It's really cheesy.
Shouldn't be any other way.
Yeah. Like I said, I hate macaroni and cheese that's not cheesy. Alright. And then now we have our corn on the cob. I put it this way so we can put our corn on the cob on. And take it out. The aluminum foil is not really too hot. So now you see how it's caramelized and all of the base is really out of there. Alright, now we could go and put a little bit of butter on this, or we could just leave it out, depending on what you want. So we want to make sure our plate is presented well to her. So how do you present a plate without a little parsley, a little edible deliciousness? You can put it anywhere you want to, so it looks great for her.
You gotta patent these words, man, before somebody else steals them.
Well, they're not really words. They're just like, somebody's gonna be like, those are not words.
Yeah.
And this is just, so I just want to make sure that they realize that I'm glad you pointed that out.
Yeah,
So now, depending on, let's put a little more on this plate so that our plate feels special, like the plate that we made her. And now, you have a delicious meal that didn't take too long, but that'll show you that you really took the time out to think about her. We have our catfish smothered in a stewed tomato and a green and yellow bell pepper. We have some macaroni and cheese, and we have our corn on the cob to make her feel awkward as she eats it.
Now for my favorite part of the show. So, I'm gonna taste the macaroni first. We're gonna see if she's gonna come back the next time. She's gonna stay tomorrow.
It's hot, so there you go.
It's good. You can taste the pepper in it.
Mm-hmm.
Nice little spice and kick to it. So it's looking
And that's why I
good
say
for
you don't want to put a whole bunch of pepper because pepper is a very powerful spice.
Yeah, because you didn't put a lot and you can taste it.
You can taste it in there, so
Yeah.
you don't want to put too much in there because it'll really overpower it.
Get a little bit of everything in this one. I tell you, it's good. All the peppers and then the fish. I never had catfish before, honestly. So
Yeah,
it's
well,
good,
okay, all right.
First time for everything. That's why I'm on the show. But, so far it's looking good. She's staying at night.
Yeah.
Now for the best part, the corn.
The corn, that's this. You see how the base was really thick, but the heat took it away. Right, you got it.
Trying not to do this and spill.
There you go.
Smells good too. now that's a different twist on corn.
Mm-hmm.
Usually butter and that was it, but this will work, yeah, with the whole cinnamon and the honey on it.
Yeah.
Let me just take another taste just to make sure it tastes right. But I'm okay. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Dave.
Yeah, thank you for showing everybody how to make her stay that night. So.
All right. All right. Thanks for having me again.
All right, man. Later.